A couple other items here. Jed York is the Niners owner, and he was talking about Brock Purdy's contract. I don't know if he'd like to have some of these comments back.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we had to make sacrifices around the roster to make sure that you can pay a quarterback, right? Like, it's just math. And I've been in situations where you have a great roster and the quarterback isn't set, and it's hard to have sustained success. We want to make sure that Brock is a long-term partner. We want to make sure that he's a part of our team for a long time. And it's a decision, I don't know exactly when we made it, but it was somewhere in the middle of the season, knowing that you can start negotiating at the end of the third year. And it's like, all right, like, he's our guy. And if he's our guy, you have to know that and make those decisions. And that's where we are right now.
Okay. Feels like they had to make decisions now because we have to pay this guy. And that's not fair because you got Brock Purdy basically for free. And he helped you build a roster that your coaching staff didn't capitalize on. Also, Brock Purdy helped you make up for the embarrassment of drafting Trey Lance and going up to get Trey Lance. Brock Purdy has been a savior for the 49ers when you think about it. And no, they didn't win a Super Bowl, and they're not going to win a Super Bowl. But Brock Purdy lived up to his end of the bargain, more than lived up to his end of the bargain. And now you got to pay. Now, should he be the highest paid quarterback? No. But if I'm his agent, I go, well, why not? I would hope that you would say, let's get something that makes the most sense for the team and your success. Whether he buys into that or not, I don't know. Yes, Eaton?
There is, at least from the article I'm looking at now, that's a couple weeks old, to be fair. But they had, at that time, they had 15 players. I know it's gone up since then. But they had 15 players who were traded, released, or just left as free agents. And that money totaled up to about $340 million. Now, they've since brought in about 10 players, at least as of the time of this article, brought in 10 players, and that was worth about $40 million.
Wow. Wow.
That is they have something like, in that, there's something like $4 million in guaranteed money. That is a drastic difference. Not only in the monetary value, but I'm going to guess the caliber of player that you're bringing in, too.
But also, this is a franchise that brought back Brandon Ayuk and gave him $30 million a year. Trent Williams is a Hall of Famer. He makes a lot of money. Christian McCaffrey may never be the same. He gets a lot of money. They have spent money, and they spent money to try to win a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy helped them be able to spend money to try to win a Super Bowl. Yes, he.
If you were to guess right now, do you think Brock Purdy's career from this point on will get better or worse?
Worse. Yeah. Got rid of Debo. I think they put themselves in salary cap hell with Brandon Ayuk's contract that they can't trade him. How much longer does Williams play? George Kittle, how long does he play? McCaffrey, how long does he play? And then you got to go out and find those guys. Well, you have to find those guys, and you also have a quarterback making $55 million a year.
And other than, I mean, he's played well, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't know what that part of the skill set is that it's like, can't lose that. Can't lose that. You know what I mean? That Brock Purdy has. If you're talking about Lamar Jackson, you're like, all right, pay that dude. I get it. 100%. Look at what he's doing. There's a million other quarterbacks, so maybe not a million, but many other quarterbacks that you're like, obviously pay him. I don't know what Brock Purdy has that is that thing that you put your finger on that says, like, we absolutely cannot lose that. Give him his money.
And his might be intangibles because my source, who's a scout, said he can't make those throws to the numbers. Like that's not his strength. And you have to be able to make those throws. Now, if you don't have those receivers who can create some separation, that makes it a lot more difficult for Brock Purdy to lead your team. If McCaffrey is not McCaffrey, okay, now you don't have that safety valve there. Is your defense going to be formidable? But keep this in mind, this coaching staff and your GM went all in on Trey Lance, and they survived that. That's how you get fired. They survived that because they got Brock Purdy. They fell into Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy saved them. He's going to get paid. He deserves to get paid. But he might be in that Dak Prescott mode of, he's a good player. Do I want him as my franchise quarterback? That's where it's open to interpretation. He might be a Kirk Cousins kind of quarterback or Andy Dalton kind of quarterback, where you throw for 250 touchdown passes in your career. You make the playoffs a few times. You go to a Super Bowl. Although Dalton and Kirk didn't, but maybe that's the kind of quarterback he's going to be. But the other part, maybe pretty cool under pressure. The intangibles that come with playing that position. Yeah, Paulie?
Purdy is an example of the timing of when your contract is up. It really helps you or hurts you. 2 years ago, when the Niners were fully assembled, Brock Purdy was 12-4, 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. Great. Fourth in the MVP voting. Last year, he was 6-9 as a starter. They were injury-riddled. 20 touchdowns and 12 picks. Which guy are you getting going forward?
You might get sort of a combo platter there. Here's the thing. If Brock Purdy was taken in the first round, we wouldn't have this discussion. He was the last pick of the draft. He was Mr. Irrelevant. You're going to pay him $55 million? If he's taken in the first round? If he's taken where Mac Jones was taken, we don't have this discussion. You're just going to accept that Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Yeah, Paulie.
Quick question for the room. Answer whichever you want. Who would you give a full boat contract to? You have to pick one or the other for the next 5 years. Brock Purdy or Trevor Lawrence?
Todd?
I'm going to take Brock Purdy.
See?
Brock Purdy.
Marv?
Brock Purdy.
Paul?
Lawrence. It's a long pause, though.
Well, they've already signed up Trevor Lawrence. But if you're saying they were both up right now, I would take Trevor Lawrence. But it's not a ringing endorsement, but you have the first pick of the draft and the last pick of the draft. Yeah, it's an interesting question.